Now let's go over to Starkville, Mississippi, and look at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs, or as we called them in honor of Coach Mike Leach, the Pirates.
The Pirates, and we will continue to do so.
Zach Arnett, defensive coordinator, who stepped in after Leach's untimely passing, he will be entering his first full season with the Bulldogs. Last year, they finished with a record of 10-4, 6-3 in the conference. They've got a new offensive coordinator in Kevin Barbay from Appalachian State, where his App State team led the Sun Belt in scoring. They've got a veteran quarterback in Will Rogers, a really great quarterback.
Absolutely.
Now, they lost something on offense. They lost one of their receivers, Ra Thomas, to Georgia. But they've got some returning receivers, some transfers. When you look at the offense and the pieces that they have outside of Will Rogers, what sticks out to you, Darren?
I tell you, the fact that they were able to get Kevin Barbay from App State, he's seen as a pretty incredible offensive mind. But it's going to be really different when you read and listen to the conversations about Mississippi State going into this year, and you hear conversations about fullbacks and tight ends. That's just so incredibly opposite to anything you ever heard under Mike Leach. So there's obviously going to be some change there, but there's so much talent, even though they did, obviously lose Ra Thomas. They've recruited well. They maintained the entire recruiting class. They did not lose anybody that was already signed after the passing of Mike Leach. So they brought him some incredible offensive talent. I think they have again, just like we were talking about with LSU, this offense at the end of the day doesn't really have anything to lose because nobody knows what to expect, or are they expecting anything? If anything, the expectation is, this is going to be bad because you hired, a defensive guy to take over an air raid offense. This is going to be bad. So they don't really have anything to lose. I think that gives them some potential to be dangerous and maybe do some things that nobody sees coming.
I think I butchered Kevin's name. Did I say Barbay and it's Barbie, right?
Yeah, I think it is Barbie.
Okay,
but it looks like Barbay. So I think we're good either way.
I think I said Barbay, and I think it must be because I was forced to eat Brussels sprouts for dinner tonight. No jokes. So my wife's a teacher, and usually, especially at the beginning of the school year, hey, I'll take you out to eat. I'll make something at home. It's okay. We can do this. I'll do this. I'll step up. And she was like, no, I want to cook dinner tonight. And I know why she wanted to cook dinner tonight, because she loves Brussels sprouts and I hate them. And she cooked them. And, love makes you do strange things. I forced them down, and she was telling me how good they were. And I was just thinking, Lord, please notice the suffering that I am going through at this moment.
I'm telling you what, that is something I can't do. I cannot eat a Brussels sprout. I don't even like the smell of them. If they're in the refrigerator, it changes. It has the potential to change my mood. I don't like them at all.
It changed my ability to pronounce the name of the offensive coordinator at Mississippi State.
See, Brussels sprouts accomplish nothing good. You just made the point. Right. That's absolutely nothing.
Now, on the other side of the ball, you have a new defensive coordinator in Matt Brock, who coached the linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And, they gave up 23 points a game last year. I think do they run a D alignment of 3-2-6?
Yes.
And so they've got some great linebackers coming back. Nathan Watson, Jet Johnson, a secondary with some holes to fill, quite honestly.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll be watching that. They really lost some good ones. But let's look at their schedule and their path and kind of see in Zach Arnett's first season. They start off with Southeast Louisiana. Don't count them out. And they've got Arizona at home.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting game to watch with, the strides that Arizona has made. And, next year they'll be making that move from the Pac-12 to the Big 12 or the Big 20, whatever it's going to be called. That'll be a really it's good for them that they have it at home, but that'll be a really interesting game to watch.
Hopefully they don't bring back the legends and leaders designations. Do you remember those?
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully they don't. Still don't know what that was about.
Yeah. So they start off with 3 home games,
Mhm.
and then they travel to South Carolina. They got Alabama at home, Western Michigan at home, and then they go to Arkansas, Auburn before having Kentucky at home. They go to A&M, and they wind up with Southern Miss, and of course the Egg Bowl with Ole Miss, and they get Ole Miss at home this year. Not not the easiest schedule
No.
out there, Darren.
No, that's really tough. I mean, if you look at if Arizona comes in and there's still a lot of uncertainty with on offense and defense for Mississippi State, kind of catches them off guard, and then say they lose to Arizona, they go into the LSU game 1-1. I mean, there is a serious possibility that they go into their bye week 2-4. I think you have to be honest about that being a realistic possibility if you're a Mississippi State fan. Now, at the same time, they could beat Arizona, sneak up on South Carolina, beat Western Michigan, and their only 2 losses are to LSU and Alabama. And who's going to fuss? If you go into your bye week 4-2 and your only 2 losses are LSU and Alabama, that's a pretty good way to kick in and head into Arkansas and Auburn coming out of the bye. So it has the potential to be kind of an ugly season, but they get things on the right track. They could at least start out getting those 4 wins under their belt and having a much better back half of the season than first half before their bye.
I think a big question for me is you've got a great talent in Will Rogers. How will he adapt to the changes in the offensive scheme?
Yeah, I think that's the upside is what is this, his 5th year? So he's I think he's a COVID senior, and I think this is his 6th year on the field, and 5th year or 6th year playing, and 5th year on the field, and that gives him the ability to see and process things. You don't have to worry about speed of the game, so hopefully that'll help. But I really think that is one of the biggest questions for them coming into this year.
Yeah. A lot of predictions, a lot of possibilities, and we leave it out on the field to see who shows up. And paper is only paper. You got to show up and play the game.